Right, we're back. Another episode of Game of Fives. No Kelvin this week, sadly, but I've had to step in. Super sub. Scully, back with us again. Back so soon.
My first performance is so good. You know what it was, yeah? Scored a screamer. They were like, oh, you got to come back straight away.
And then, of course, we've got Joe with us as well. How you doing?
I'm doing well, thanks. If we're using that analogy, I suppose I'm the, youngster in the reserve. Let's hope I'm more of a Marcus Rashford than a Federico Makeda.
Do you want to tell us a little bit about what you do, who you are?
Yeah, I've worked in radio, presenting and production for a few years. Myself and Scully have a football podcast called It National Clearance, interviewing people, players, managers about their time abroad, British people about spending time abroad. Obviously, it's a lot more common now, but it didn't used to be. So there's some interesting stories we found out there, people like Les Ferdinand and Peter Ramage, and then some people you've never heard of.
Because I ain't heard of them. So.
No. So you've got people who played in the Icelandic second division, who, 2 hours of sunlight a day.
Yeah,
just doing it because they love football and nothing else.
Yeah.
So
Today we're going to do top 5 World Cup goals of all time, keeping it topical. You two sent me your list. You haven't seen each other's lists, but you sent them to me already. We'll go from 5 to 1. Bit of debate, obviously being good friends, so there's going to be a couple arguments. But we'll start there. Scully, obviously, you know how the show works. Start with you. If you could give us your 5th best World Cup goal of all time.
Last World Cup, 2018, Pavard, France versus Argentina.
It's a good pick, though.
And yeah, I didn't really rate Pavard either, and it kind of made me rate him.
He looked like the weak link in the. When you're looking at it, and you see how stacked they are up front and all that, and then that goal. There's no time that ever comes up on social, and you don't watch the whole clip or you skip past it. It's impossible.
One of the all-time great reverse angles.
The
one that isn't the telly angle where you follow the ball and the swerve of it in. That's it's got one of the best of any competition, never mind the World Cup. To me, that's. Pavard's right up there for that. So.
Do you know what's mad about that World Cup as well, though? Do you remember Nacho's goal for Spain?
Nope.
No, not.
You know the 3-3 against Portugal?
Yeah.
I actually think he scored a better goal in that game from right back, where he cuts across it the same way. Pavard's one, obviously it's an amazing goal, but the way he cuts across it and it goes in the bottom corner, it gets lost in the Ronaldo free kick and the penalty and all that kind of stuff.
But there's a few tournaments in that block of sort of 10 years where just hit from any distance clean enough, people want to do hero ball, and it was probably going to go in. And that's if we'll get into my 5th, is a great example of that.
What is it?
Van Bronckhorst's goal for Holland against Uruguay. There is nothing going on. The pace of the game is so slow, and he's just bored on the left-hand side, and it's like, oh, go on, I'll just hit it then. He's from a standing start. He's not dribbling.
It's that things they say the World Cup's obviously not the highest level of football, but obviously all the best players are there, and that's what they care about the most. And so it has that raw Sunday League element to it as well, where he's he'd never take that shut for his club.
No.
So the reward isn't as big enough to try it in the first place. What is your number 4?
This is what I put on there, partially for aesthetics, partially because everyone remembers it, and partially just because it gave him a career. James Rodriguez. Colombia versus Uruguay, wasn't it?
It
was versus Uruguay. Yeah.
It was round of 16s. It was before the Brazil game.
Yeah. And it literally gave him a career. You have to sit down and be like, this strike was so good. Obviously, his whole tournament performance was great. Yeah, it was cool. Did his thing entirely, but that strike in itself must have upped his transfer value by 8 million, alone. Just straight away, his agent was like, "Yeah, there we go."
There's no way Real Madrid sign him if that don't go in.
100% not.
There's no way on earth.
100% not. Who knows where he'd be? Genuinely, without that goal, who knows where he'd be?
What's your number 4?
My number 4, which I'm not. Now I'm realising it. Now I'm saying it out loud. I'm not too. This is more of a personal connection, and I'm willing to loosen it. Go because you mentioned something earlier about honourable mentions, and I'm thinking maybe I should have put one in there. Michael Owen versus Argentina in 1998.
I had that on my list.
It's star-making goal.
Had it on my list, mate. It's got to go in. It's going in.
Michael Owen's been speaking recently about.
Being as good as Mbappé.
He'd be worth as much as
and
Mbappé would be right now.
He would.
At that time, he was.
Kids don't get it. And the reason why I put it in here is because obviously when that goal went in, I was 5 years old. And I'm just watching TV and getting to know football. And people are not clocking, So all I know is one day I get a packet of crisps after school and they're just normal Walkers, cool, standard. The next day I'm getting Walkers. They've got Michael Owen's face on them. I'm thinking, who's this geezer? My mum's a Liverpool fan as well, innit? So it's like she loved him off. She's like, oh, he's the new star. He's like a new star boy. Like my mum was really into Liverpool growing up. So I was like, oh, okay, like cool. Obviously he comes to the World Cup. I'm watching him, and like you say, like,
Still a teenager as well.
bro, he's so young. So in my very young head, I'm like, oh, in 10 years that could be me.
What I do think is enjoyable about the goal is there are two extra things, right? What do people from abroad call like English football when they're trying to be derogatory? They call it kick and rush. Yeah. It is the ultimate kick and rush goal ever scored by an England team.
It's the least techie I've ever seen David Beckham look. That pass, it's a good pass, but like when you think
it's
of David
areas,
Beckham,
though,
when you think of David Beckham passes, they're kind of like ooze class. Like
he's done that a million times in training.
Yeah, this one was just like I feel like there was like defenders on him, like rushing him, and he's just gone pulling it, and the way he's caught it.
Here's a question, yeah. If England played in the Premier League, that England squad was a Premier League squad. Like,
They're getting turned over. They're getting turned over. They're finishing 16th. They're not getting relegated, but they're getting turned over. They're getting turned over, man.
No way.
They're telling that midfield is not flexible enough. Wait, hold on. If Southgate is a manager, I'm sorry, they're getting turned over. They're getting turned over. I actually believe they're getting turned over. Yes, I believe it. I'm sorry, guys.
They're top 6.
I don't think they are.
Minimum.
I think they've got the quality, but just in the way. And then again, it's with my grandma had wheels. If they're in the Prem, obviously they train together more.
That's more the point.
All
international teams together. You see it in a lot of the smaller nations where they very rarely there's not much squad turnover because they just stick with that group.
Mm-hmm.
They often discuss those kind of international breaks as being like another club that they're at.
What's your next pick?
This is one that is literally on the list because it reminds me of the football that I think is beautiful, and it is Cambiasso. Is that against Uruguay again?
No, that's Serbia.
It is Serbia, and that's 06.
Yeah.
I can't lie, I think that's a boring pick.
Yeah, really?
Yeah.
Do you know what it is? It's because he took the Owen one. So I had to go to reach to one of the ones I got left over.
Fair enough. I'm kind of glad you've put that in your list because I realised putting mine together that I've got no team goals in mine. And I think a lot of that is down to probably who I support. I don't support a team that scores great team goals. And also, they don't happen too often in the tournament. And I don't know, I like long ranges. Like, Yeboah is the archetype for me.
I like the sports psychology, man. Like I like the nerdy stuff. I like the chess.
There's something about dismantling a team.
Yeah,
well. They've been building up to this moment for 4 years, whatever, and you get out there and you've just been done.
Picking them apart. And this Cambiasso goal, they're actually because at the beginning, obviously, they're playing out for the back, and the back it's really slow paced. It's like if you watch the whole goal, it's like 4 minutes. Like it's really slow working.
That's why I don't really care too much for the pass count on that, on how long the move is. Because really, nothing of note happens until the last 30 seconds, maybe that. And even that is a long passage of time. But you know, there's no incisive passes made until like...
But that's why I love it, because it's the way it speeds up. I think it's Cambiasso himself who's played him through. Someone else backheeled it back to him
that's
and then
the nice
just slotted it in.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, this is patience, this is eloquence, this is elegance, this is everything. Yeah. I like it, man.
It's also like the third goal in a 6-0 win in a group stage. Like, I
think it's the second, to be fair to them.
Okay. They could afford to play like that at the time they're playing like that. If it had been a close game, high stakes, the passman would have been more manic from the start. It would have been a different formation.
Yeah, but it's not their fault. They were good. We shouldn't punish them for being a great team.
No, but it's a class goal. I just find it for terribly boring.
I love a team goal. To get everybody involved, it's just like, I just feel like it's so hard to sync up everyone.
That's why I think it's unserious though. It's like almost getting everyone involved because they can. Because they have time to.
I think it's just a statement of how skillful you are, because it's so hard. Like if we all were like, let's all clap at the same time, but nobody count. Yeah, we won't be able to do it. Like,
should we try it?
Okay.
No. You didn't even try to get it coordinated.
Okay, cool. Okay.
No, let's all look at each other.
Look at each other's hands.
We can't look at each other because that won't be too easy.
Oh.
That wasn't bad, though. That wasn't bad.
It wasn't bad.
What's your next pick?
My next pick, excuse me, I'm going to have to read out his name. And, you're talking about you taking on 3-4 players. This guy the World Cup moments. This guy is only known for this. And even then, bless him, I don't think people know him because of his name.
When you sent this to me, I didn't know what it was. I saw it and I thought, it's gonna be a long podcast.
This is a goal for Saudi Arabia against Belgium in USA '94. His name is Saeed Al-Owairan.
Jeez.
That was clean.
If that's not how it is, I'm so sorry.
We appreciate the attempt. You actually really tried to make.
I tried. I got to give the man some justice.
We like a rogue pick as well. Like we got to have one. There's no
like
way
that.
it's making the final list. But I appreciate it.
But you tried though.
tried.
Yeah, you got it.
This guy picks it up from deep in his own half and takes on 4 or 5 players and runs it all the way into the goal. There's some shocking defending at the very end. You know where you're like throwing your body in on the line and misjudging the bounce. But it's the perfect example of like your name is etched in history for life now.
We need your number 2. It's getting serious now.
Yeah.
Tim Cahill, Australia versus Netherlands.
That's an
2014.
unbelievable shout.
Yes. And it's another one that I picked. It couldn't remind me of my person. But it's just the way it loops over, and like you're saying, he follows it over the shoulder and just boom,
Crossbar.
straight in. Crazy. It's just everything about it. And the best thing about it for me was the fact that it was at the time when he was winding down from his career.
Yeah.
So you kind of think that he
Fully his
passed
last
it.
dance, that tournament.
Yeah, like you really think he's passed it, and like it's just one of those goals where it's like class is permanent.
But you know his whole story about like his international career? Like, so he didn't play for Australia until relatively like early to mid-20s, but it was like way after he should have.
Yeah.
Basically, he was on holiday. He's got American Samoan family, and he just jumped in with an American Samoan like under 20s when he was about 13 and played an international while he was visiting some family in American Samoa. And as a result, he was like, when he's playing at Mill, doing amazing stuff, got his move to Everton, FIFA wouldn't let him play for Australia. They were like, no, you played for you played for the American Samoan under 20s when you were 14, therefore no. And it wasn't until they changed the rules quite late down the line that he eventually played for Australia. Can you imagine that kind of sliding doors moment? Like, what if they never changed that?
What the hell? Like, I think that's just unfair anyway. Like, so was he like on holiday?
I think so. I mean, the story around it sounds ridiculous. But I don't know if you've seen that Next Goal Wins documentary about American Samoa. It is a little bit kind of like, right, who fancies a game kind of thing.
Yeah.
So, I can't imagine the lower age levels like you go down, it's even more organised.
He can't believe anyone's got proof in playing in that game.
Yeah, exactly.
It's that kind of
thing.
What's your number 2?
Number 2, my second favourite World Cup goal is probably it's not the best, it's my favourite though. It is Maxi Rodriguez against Mexico for Argentina in 2006.
Another one that nearly made my list.
2 reasons. Obviously, it's an incredible thing, but then you've got to factor in when it happens. It's in extra time in a knockout game.
119th minute, wasn't it?
Yep. Or something like that. And
right at the very pits of extra time.
And even better, weaker foot. Mm-hmm. It is a left foot volley from 30 yards out, maybe more, on a diagonal, chest and volley on his weaker foot. Outrageous.
It's incredible.
Outrageous goal.
Big moment.
It's number 1,
But didn't make yours.
It didn't make mine. I have 2 that I can go for here. There's one that I think might be in your list. Because you've gone for Maxi, I'll go for the other one. This is one that I think you might have had. Dennis Bergkamp.
It's the one I forgot.
Netherlands, yeah. Netherlands versus... Don't tell me it's Uruguay again.
It's Argentina.
Yeah. Listen, I was going to say, we've got a few where Argentina are getting popped down. What's going on here? Yeah, Dennis Bergkamp versus Argentina. Again, a looping pass over.
One of the balls.
He's brought it down like in the only way that he can. And just... sweet, bro.
That's the funniest thing about that goal.
It's just sweet, bro.
It is unbelievable.
Incredible technique and everything. But you think... what the reputation is for Dutch football and internationals and the total football, it is a long flank the ball hoof. Deep at the end of a game. It is hopeful. It's incredible and accurate.
And you know that who Bergkamp is, and you know who FDB is as well. So it's like, it's one of those that they probably don't like to do because they see it as cheap.
But they know they had to. They knew they had to do it.
Listen, we're running out of time. Let's just do it.
Yeah.
that had to be my number one.
It's a good number one pick, and I expected nothing less from.
Well, most of us are picking goals that we were there for. This is the only one where I'm not born, but it is a ridiculous goal. It's an absurd goal. It's Maradona against England in '86.
I thought you put it in. I thought you put it in.
The one with his feet, by the way, not the hand.
Not the other one.
The hand could legit be up there.
Okay. I thought you were going to go for the hand.
No.
Fair enough. They're both good goals.
The one with his feet is a joke. And yes, you think about our '80s English football. Some of it looks a bit prehistoric because of the camera quality and stuff. But you're talking about England that is dominating European football until prior. Well, I think they were banned by that point. But early '80s, it's Forest. It's Villa, and Liverpool. We are dominating like the European Cups and stuff. Maradona just breezes through like 4 or 5 men, puts them all on their backsides as well.
Literally on their bums.
To show that like beautiful side of his game after the other bit as well. That's what I love, because it's like, I'm better than you. I didn't even need to do what I did.
Yeah.
But I've done it to rattle you, and I can do this. If you have to play the other way, that's fine, kind of thing. And it's like,
you won't ever get, you hear about these games, some people have like the world's worst game or whatever, or being like, that encapsulates their whole career. It's like John Walter's own goal and 2 missed penalties or whatever. Maradona doing those 2 goals in the same match in a World Cup quarter-final, I think. That's just like, okay, that's the player in one game. There you go.
The hand of God makes that goal better as well, because it's like, what everyone's thinking of in this and everyone, like, imagine how much those players didn't even want the ball.
They probably wanted to hack him
They
down.
didn't want the ball at all. And
couldn't touch him.
That's when English football became prehistoric, by this one little guy. It's like, we need to seriously rethink what's going on.
We need to get silky. We need to learn how to do this weaving stuff, because what is he doing?
I feel like we have to debate those 2 lists. I want to include 10, but we can't. It's game of 5s. We've got to go for 5. So from that, we've got to work out what the list is. Now, obviously, you've gone like 5v5, 4v4, 3v3. We can move them around. They don't have to go head to head, but we need to work out what that list is from those goals.
My 5 were Van Bronckhorst.
Wait, no, let's go one by one and try and knock them out and see what should stay from the last ones.
Okay.
So for Van Bronckhorst versus James Rodriguez.
Rodriguez wins that one probably.
Yeah.
Because it's goal of the tournament. See, the reason why I was going to bounce it is because I'm only really putting it in there because it gave Rodriguez a career.
Right.
It is a very memorable one, though. It is very memorable. So I'm not mad if it stays in.
I think I want Rodriguez in there, because we're laughing about the Van Bronckhorst. Everyone's tired.
Yeah.
Got a lot of time for the strike. I'm also not a very gifted fullback, so I appreciate where he's coming from.
It's the most Sunday league of them all.
Yeah. So it's got a place in our hearts, but not on the list.
Rodriguez, fair enough. Number 4.
Mine was Owen.
Oh no, Pavard was my 5 actually.
Okay.
And Owen is staying in ahead of Pavard.
I think the Pavard one is amazing. I do think it's slightly overrated.
Also, Pavard, I think people didn't expect that player to do it, which I think elevates it a little bit. But yeah, I'm happy to see that go.
Yeah. No, I'm not gonna fight for it.
So we're gonna go for Michael Owen.
Michael Owen, there you go.
Because of the crisps.
Because of the crisps, because of the helicopter ride. Just because I think people don't. If you're watching this right now, he 100% would have been a £100 million man, even more. Yeah, he was levels with Mbappé at that time. He was. It's a fact.
Cambiasso, I'm willing to put at the bottom. I'm like
number 5. Yeah. So it's been acknowledged that team goals are great. But it's not what the World Cup's about.
That's not what we're here for.
That's all right.
Cambiasso number 5.
Yeah.
Okay, that feels like a victory.
I'm happy with that as well.
I'm very happy with that.
Cambiasso number 5. Number 4, Owen.
Yes.
You had it higher, right?
I did have it higher, but let me be honest, I had it higher off the basis that I was a 5-year-old watching it.
Also, is it big England tax as well?
It might be.
That's why it can't go any higher.
Yeah,
it can't go any higher.
We have to acknowledge that. I think that's a 4.
Maradona, I think Maradona has to go top.
What one? We putting in the only one that none of us were alive for at the top.
Yeah, but the fact it's even been mentioned for that.
True. But then we're also giving it legacy tax. Logically, it has to be number 1.
Yeah.
The fact that I wasn't there for it means it doesn't move me as much. Like, it's like, I read about it and I'm like, yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, okay.
But also the other ones I saw, I'm like, yeah, but this was crazy.
Yeah. For me, like, Maxi Rodriguez would be number 1 if not for that. I almost want to call it 1.5.
I hear it.
So Maxi 2.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
The fact that it's the last minute of extra time, weak foot volley, is like, it's pushing it, it's propelling it. Do you know what I mean?
Dennis Bergkamp is scoring that goal.
He might have. I think he probably could.
Yeah.
He could.
Yeah.
I think he could.
We could have him to save him. We could have him third.
Bergkamp is going in. That was
That's,
I didn't know that
as
was
a list,
debate.
then, if we go through that,
Yeah.
remember that 5, Cambiasso.
Yeah.
We've accepted that team
Yeah.
goals are
Respect
a part of
team goals
football.
a
They
little bit,
exist.
yeah.
Yeah.
4, Owen, massive England tax, but a goal that
Suez.
everyone cherishes.
Yeah, yeah.
Number 3, Bergkamp. Number 2, Maxi.
Yes.
Number
I
1,
have it.
Maradona.
Yeah. I'll have Maradona. I'll have it.
But I'm happy with that. I mean, thank you both so much for coming on.
You're very welcome.
No, thank you for inviting us.
No tension in the room. We're all happy with the 3.
No. I'm very glad you were here because I were able to get the agenda that team goals are so really implemented on this list.
Comment below if you're a big fan of team goals and they are very underrated and you guys are doing them a big disservice.
Amazing. All right. Well, I think we'll leave it there. Scully, Joe, thank you so much for coming on. I'm sure we'll have you both on again soon.
Happy to,
And
man.
peace.